Have you ever tried to stop thinking, but your mind simply wouldn't listen? Maybe it was a conversation you couldn't stop replaying, a mistake you wished you could change, or a future that had not even happened yet. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. Millions of people experience this every single day. But here is something surprising. Overthinking does not always happen because you are weak. In fact, your brain believes it's trying to help you. Before we begin, please take a second to subscribe to my channel. Now, let's discover why your mind keeps overthinking even when you desperately want it to stop. Your brain is trying to protect you. To understand why we overthink, we need to go back thousands of years. Imagine walking alone through a dense forest. Every step could be dangerous. A strange sound behind the trees, a moving shadow in the distance, a hidden predator waiting to attack. Back then, your brain had only one job, to keep you alive. So, it learned to notice every possible danger. The people who stayed alert were the ones who survived. That survival instinct is still inside us today. But the world has changed. We no longer spend our days escaping wild animals. Instead, our brains search for different kinds of danger. What if I make a mistake? What if I embarrass myself? What if I fail? What if people reject me? To your brain, these situations can feel just as important as the dangers our ancestors faced. So it keeps thinking, it keeps analyzing, it keeps preparing for every possible outcome because deep down it believes it's protecting you. But sometimes, the very thing trying to keep you safe becomes the reason you feel trapped. Thinking versus overthinking. At first, it doesn't feel like overthinking. It feels like you are trying to solve a problem. You tell yourself, if I think about it a little more, I will find the answer. And that's exactly what thinking is supposed to do. Thinking helps us solve problems. It helps us make better decisions. It helps us learn from our mistakes. But overthinking is different. Instead of finding an answer, your mind keeps returning to the same question again and again. It's like sitting in a rocking chair. The chair keeps moving, but you never move forward. Your mind keeps replaying the same conversation. Why did I say that? It remembers the same mistake. I should have done something differently. Then it starts imagining the same fear. What if it happens again? The more you search for the perfect answer, the more your mind keeps searching. But no matter how long you think, nothing really changes. Instead of solving the problem, you become trapped inside it. And that's the hidden difference between thinking and overthinking. Why your brain won't let go. Have you ever noticed that the hardest thoughts to forget are the ones without an answer? That's because your brain doesn't like uncertainty. It wants clear answers. It wants to know what will happen next. But life does not always work that way. Sometimes a conversation ends without closure, a decision feels unfinished, or a question stays unanswered. And your mind keeps going back to it. You start asking yourself, what if I said the wrong thing? What if I fail? What if people judge me? Each question creates another question, then another. Before you know it, you are searching for the answers that no one can really know. The more you try to be completely certain, the more your brain keeps searching because certainty is something life can never fully promise. And that's why overthinking can feel like an endless loop, not because your mind is broken, but because it's trying to find answers that simply don't exist. Silence changes everything. But here is something interesting. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas rarely come when you are forcing yourself to think? Instead, they often appear while you are taking a shower, going for a quiet walk, or simply watching the sunset. It almost feels like the answer comes out of nowhere. But that's not a coincidence. When the noise around you becomes quiet, your mind finally gets a chance to slow down. For the first time, your brain has room to breathe. Silence does not make your problems disappear. The difficult situations are still there, but silence changes the way you see them. Instead of chasing every single thought, your mind begins to let them pass, and that's often when clarity appears. Sometimes the answer you have been searching for does not arrive because you kept thinking, it arrives because you finally stopped forcing it. You are not your thoughts. Here is something many people don't realize. Just because a thought appears in your mind does not mean it's true. Think about it. How many times you have imagined the worst possible outcome only to discover that everything turned out just fine? Our minds create thousands of thoughts every single day. Some are helpful, some are creative, and some are simply fears disguised as facts. The important thing is to remember that you don't have to believe every thought your mind creates. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is simply notice the thought without holding on to it. Let it come, let it stay for a moment, then let it pass, just like clouds moving across the sky. You don't have to chase them and you don't have to stop them. You only have to remember that they eventually pass. So, what have we learned? Overthinking does not mean there is something wrong with you. It does not mean your mind is broken. In many ways, your brain is simply trying to protect you. It's trying to prepare you for every possible outcome. But sometimes that protection goes too far. Instead of helping you move forward, it keeps you trapped in the same place. The goal is not to stop thinking completely. After all, thinking is one of the greatest abilities we have. The real goal is to recognize the moment when thinking becomes overthinking because that's the moment you can choose to let it go. Remember, you don't need to have every answer today. You don't need to control every future moment. Sometimes the greatest peace comes when you accept that not everything can be predicted. Take a deep breath, be present, trust yourself, and let your thoughts come and go like clouds passing across the sky. Okay, friends, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments what is one thought you find hardest to let go of.